Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm Tamika Lori Pugh, also known as the Empowering Diva. Each week, you'll hear inspirational interviews as well as actionable tips and strategies that you can implement into your daily life to help you live a life of passion, purpose, and potential. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump into today's episode of Living the Empowered Life. Are you the go-to person in your group of friends? Do you have a zest for life and enjoy helping others reach their full potential? Do you feel a calling to make a difference in the world? If this is you, then you may want to consider becoming a life coach. We have a virtual online training starting soon. Our life coach training focuses on helping women who desire to motivate, inspire, and empower other women by using their skills, expertise, and experience to thrive as a personal development coach. Using the empowerment formula, participants will learn step-by-step tools, tips, and techniques needed to attract great clients and build a thriving, purposeful, and profitable coaching business. Get all the details and register at www.tamikolori.com/life coach training. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living the Empowered Life. I'm your host, Tamika Lori Pugh, affectionately called by many the Empowering Diva. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing 5 things that you can do to face your fears head on. Here's the thing. It is important that you face your fears and do it scared. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the importance of facing your fears head on. So here's the thing. Did you know that fear is the most common emotion that people are walking around with every single day? It is the most common emotion that people are walking around with. It's so common that people have learned to function with it. We've learned to function with fear and never, ever challenge where it came from. We have no idea where the fear came from because we don't challenge it. Where did it come from? Why am I afraid to take the next step in my life? Why am I afraid to start this business? Why am I afraid? We don't know. We just accept it as it is and we don't challenge where it came from. Fear is so common that people would rather stay in situations that are destructive. People would rather stay in situations that are non-productive rather than pursue the blessings that lie beyond the borders of their fears. That's crazy. We would rather stay in situations that are destructive to us rather than pursue the blessings that lie beyond the borders of our fears. Our breakthrough is on the other side of fear. Fear will blind you to the amazing possibilities that are available to you in life. Fear limits us and keeps us living in our current situation. Whether that situation is good or bad, guess what? Fear will keep you there. But here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing. And I've been studying the topic of fear for a very long time. And here's one of the things that I discovered. We almost always discover that the thing or the events that we simply fear, they never happen. The thing that we fear never, ever happens. So what does that tell us? It tells me that fear is not real. We make it up in our head. What would happen if we didn't create the fear? I'm going to tell you a little story. I currently have about 5 or 6 books that I've published thus far. But I released my first book in 2014. In 2014, I released my first book, and I was scared. I was afraid. I was nervous. I feared everything about releasing that book. I feared what people would say about me. I feared that the book wasn't going to sell. I feared that no one was going to show up to my book signing. I feared that my family would have things to say about me because it was a memoir, so I had to share some personal things. And so I was afraid of what my family was going to say. I was afraid of what people were going to think about me. I was afraid that I wasn't good enough. I was afraid that I wasn't smart enough. I was afraid that I wasn't educated enough to write a book. So guess what I did? I sat on that book for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. I allowed fear to keep me from releasing that book. Here's the thing. I decided, Tamiko, face your fear and do it scared. So that's what I did. I finished the book. I released it scared. I was scared as heck, let me tell you. And so the interesting thing is this. When I finally released the book, everything that I feared never happened. Never, ever happened. My family wasn't upset with me. The book signing was filled to capacity. We had standing room only. Mind you, this was my very first book signing. It was standing room only. I sold all of every single book that I had on hand that day. Every single book. And the people that I thought were going to talk about me, they were my biggest supporters. Not only that, here's the thing. My book became an Amazon #1 bestseller. A first-time author. Amazon #1 bestseller. So imagine what would have happened if I would have continued to wallow in fear. Imagine what would have happened. All the people that are blessed because of my story wouldn't be blessed today. I wouldn't have had the breakthroughs that I've had I allowed fear to hold me back. You have to face your fears. Feel the fear. It's okay. Feel it. Feel the fear, but do it scared. And so here's the moral of my story. Don't let your fears intimidate you. I know you're scared, but don't let them intimidate you. Remember what I said earlier. Fear is not real. Okay? Don't let your fears immobilize you. Don't let them keep you stuck. Don't let your fears keep you from getting that blessing. Don't let your fears stop you from writing that book. Don't let your fears stop you from going to the next level in your life. Don't let your fears stop you from starting that business. Fear is not real. Feel the fear and do it scared. Repeat after me. Feel the fear and do it scared. One more time. Feel the fear and do it scared. All right? Like I said, fear is not real. Now, for all my Bible readers out there, what does the Bible say about fear? I'm glad you asked. The Bible gives us a prescription for fear. It gives us a prescription for fear, and the Bible challenges us to overcome fearful thoughts. It challenges us to overcome fearful behaviors and attitudes. Okay? So listen, the spirit that God gave us does not make us timid. It does not make us shy. It does not make us afraid. Fear not. Okay? The spirit that God gave us gives us power. It gives us love. It gives us a sound mind. Remember that. The Spirit of God does not make us timid, but gives us power. It gives us love and a sound mind. And so the type of fear that paralyzes us and keeps us from being our best self, that is not the way God wants us to live our lives. We are not designed to live in fear. Why? Because fear is not real. We make it up in our heads. If we didn't make up the fear, it wouldn't be there. I'm going to say it again. Fear is not real. Here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I realized when I was studying this topic of fear. Did you know that we're only born with 2 fears? When we're born, there are only 2 things that we're afraid of. We are born with the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. And in some cases, possibly the fear of bright lights. But when we're born, there's 2 things that we're afraid of. Loud noises and falling. That's it. That's it. The rest of our fears are learned behaviors. We learn these behaviors. We learn them from our family members, our close acquaintances. We learn them from our teachers. These are fears that we learn when we're younger, and we carry them with us throughout life, right? But our next teacher of fear is us. It's us, our life experiences, our imagination. Our imagination causes us to have fear. It's all in our head. It's an imagination. It's not real. There's an acronym, FEAR, FEAR, false evidence appearing real. It's not real. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask yourself the following questions and answer them as honestly as you can. Be honest with yourself. Do your fears intimidate you? Do they intimidate you? Are you intimidated by your fears? Do your fears immobilize you? Do they keep you stuck? Can you not move forward in life because of your fears? Are you stagnant because of your fears? Are your fears keeping you from making important decisions? Are your fears keeping you from making important decisions? We've all been there. Have your fears caused you to be overly concerned with the what ifs of life? What if it doesn't work out? What if they don't like me? What if I fail? What if? Have your fears caused you to be overly concerned with the what ifs of life? Now listen, if you said yes to any of these questions, it's okay. It's okay because we've all been there. But the next question I have for you is this. How long are you going to allow your fears to control you? How long are you going to allow your fears to control you? They're controlling your life. They're controlling your next move, your next job, your next breakthrough. How much longer are you going to allow your fears to control you? Here's the thing. In order to really live an empowered life, you have to face your fears and do it scared. Just do it scared. You'll feel so much better afterwards. I promise you. Everything I do it scared. I launched my podcast scared. I wrote my first book scared. I wrote my second book scared. I launched my coaching program scared. Do it scared. That's all I'm saying. Feel the fear, face your fears, and do it scared. So here's what I want to do very quickly. We've talked about fear. I've shared my story with you. What I want to do now is just give you a couple of things, a couple of tips that you can do to help you to overcome fear. And so earlier when I first started talking, I talked about how we typically don't even know where our fears come from. And so tips for overcoming fear. Here's the first one. Number 1, acknowledge the fear. You have to acknowledge that the fear is there. Whether it's imagined or real, most of the time it's imagined, right? But whether it's imagined or real, the first step in overcoming your fear is to admit that it exists. Okay? We all have fears. It's human nature. But denying it or ignoring your fears does not make them go away. So acknowledge the fear. Number 2, analyze it. Where does it come from? Where did this fear come from? Is it real? Is it imagined? Did my parents teach me this? Did I learn it in school? Did a life experience cause me to feel this way? Where did it come from? Where did it come from? Okay? Analyze the fear and figure out where it came from. Determine what the cause of this fear might be. And then ask yourself if you can deal with it or if you can overcome it. Most of the time, you're going to be able to overcome that fear. You're going to be able to overcome that fear. Once you go through the process of analyzing it, it's not as scary as you thought it was. Okay? Number 3, face it. Face that fear head on. Face your fear. Allow yourself to feel it. And then guess what? Do it scared. Face it. Feel it. Do it scared. Number 4, be persistent. Okay? Do that thing that you fear over and over again. Keep doing it over and over again. Be persistent. When you repeat something and do it over and over again, eventually it's going to lose power over you and you won't be as vulnerable. So repeat it. Do it over and over again. Be persistent. Number 1, acknowledge the fear. Number 2, analyze it. Number 3, face it, feel it, and do it scared. Number 4, be persistent. And number 5, develop courage. Okay? Develop courage. Sometimes the answer may not even be to conquer a particular fear, right? But it may be to help you develop courage. Develop courage. I'm going to say that again. Develop courage. Okay? If you focus too much on any type of fear, instead of allowing it to give you courage, or instead of allowing it to help you build courage, what's going to happen is you'll end up intensifying the fear, right? You'll end up intensifying it. So by developing courage, you begin to build self-confidence and resilience. How amazing is that? Self-confidence, you become resilient, and then you develop a healthy approach towards facing those other fears that might come your way. So at the end of the day, what is it that we want to do? We want to face the fear, right? We want to feel it, and then we want to do it scared. Now, we've talked about overcoming fear. We've talked about what fear looks like and all those things. I gave you some tips for overcoming fear. And those of you who know me, if you're one of my coaching clients, you already know I don't let you go anywhere without repeating or reciting affirmations. And so now I have some affirmations I want you to repeat after me, okay? So repeat after me. I am fearless. I take action now. I am confident and determined. I keep pushing until I succeed. I am willing to release my fears. I trust the process of life. I am divinely protected. I take action without hesitation or fear. I face all my fears head on. I choose faith over fear. I choose faith over fear. I choose faith over fear. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Living the Empowered Life. I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson on fear and that you were able to draw some motivation and inspiration from today's discussion as you continue on your journey of living an empowered life. And so for those of you who may be struggling with a specific fear, it's holding you back, it's intimidating you, it's immobilizing you, I love to work with you one-on-one to see how I can help you face the fear, feel the fear, and do it scared. Visit my website at tamikolori.com. Click on the link that says Coffee with the Coach. From there, you can schedule an Overcoming Fear coaching session with me. Remember, fear is not real. It's just false evidence appearing real. Hey there to all my friends in the Living the Empowered Life community. Listen, what better way to celebrate love than by loving yourself and grabbing a copy of my book, 21 Days of Self-Love, a guide to loving yourself unapologetically. This book serves as a self-love guide to loving yourself from the inside out by providing you with self-love tips, affirmations, and mantras to be used during your 21 days of self-love. Grab a copy of the book in the empowerment store at tamikolori.com. Take some time to do something loving for you. You deserve it. So ladies, listen. It's time to discover and live your life purpose. It's time to value yourself. It's time to set goals that are going to move you forward in life. It's time to rebuild your confidence. It's time to fearlessly walk in your authentic power. And ladies, it's time to live the empowered life.